not just from the bet. I mean, just Monday Night Football game. We didn't have a bet on a disgusting game. Some tough beats there. We did have one bet with the Phillies, and that just was a tough one. Zack Wheeler looked phenomenal, and then they have finally breaks up the no-hitter. There's an error that follows, run scored, and that was the momentum they needed, carries over to the next inning, and then, of course, Braves rallied back, and that's what happens with the best offense in baseball. But, damn, Zack Wheeler looked phenomenal. 10 Ks, started off great. Just couldn't close that one out. Bullpen couldn't close it out. We'll say, although it did hurt the bet, phenomenal play to end the game. Michael Harris, what a snag. Those are always beautiful October moments. And then in game 2, no bet there with the D-backs and the Dodgers. But D-backs, again, coming out to L.A. They hadn't won 2 games in a row in L.A. I believe it was 7 years. And then you have what they've done lately. I mean, it was Dodgers had won 37 in the last 49 there in LA, and they just go and sweep 2 in a row. So D-backs getting it done. And now looking on, we have 2 more ALDS matchups games today. We'll get into those, talk a little bit of Thursday night football. John, thoughts on the Monday action? Obviously, that football game was disgusting, and it was a tough blow there with the Phillies.
Yeah, watch that game. Looking for always looking for knowledge. While I was going back and forth with the baseball game, and I did have somebody that actually had the audacity to DM me on Instagram, telling me how smart I was and how I was so right about Wheeler. He sent me that in the 6th inning when Philly had a 92% chance of winning. After receiving that text, I felt like I had a 92% chance of losing. That's why I tell everybody, please do not DM me on Instagram unless it's something important. Don't tell me how great I am or how bad I suck. That's the quickest way to get blocked. But regardless, just a tough loss. Wheeler pitching as good as he gets. Just what we expected from Wheeler. We told you going into the day, 9 of 10 quality starts against the Braves. Ridiculous numbers against the best hitting team in baseball. Tied up the all-time record for homers in the season with 307. And that's what got them, the long ball. And then a phenomenal kid played a way to end the game just to stick the knife in the final play of the game. Where is Harper going? Get just about to say. I've coached baseball travel kids, and it's disgusting how baseball is played. The lack of knowing certain situations, not knowing in fly rule. It's terrible. So Harper should not be that far past the base. If the ball goes over the fence, he's going to score. If he's standing at second base and that ball hits the wall or Harris doesn't make a catch, he's going to score. He doesn't have to be halfway to third. Anyway, learn how to play the game, guys. It's a simple game if you're taught correctly. Anyway, we take an L with that one. That was our only game. The football game, good knowledge for coming up this week. Packers, I thought the Packers were a little better than they were. Now, granted, they're banged up. Campbell on defense, he's out. Alexander just coming back. He wasn't 100%. You could see it. In one play, Jacobs just juked him right out of his shoes. Mm-hmm. And then they go lose another couple of guys on D. The linebacker and the cornerback. But they'll get a bye. But Raiders will be on a short week. They're lucky that they get could be one of the worst teams in football right now coming in there. New England have been outscored, I believe it's 72-3 in their last 2 weeks, getting smashed at home by the Saints and then getting crushed at Dallas the prior week. But we'll see how they do against them. Short week. They weren't overly impressive. So, yeah, we take the 1 L for the day. Miss Arizona. Should have been on it. Didn't pull the trigger on that. And let me just talk real quick about that bye. I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday. So look at the 4 best teams in baseball, the 4 teams that got a bye. That would be Atlanta and the Dodgers in the National League. That would be the Orioles and Houston. So Orioles lose their first 2 games of their first series. Houston wins the first one, loses the second one. Dodgers lose their first 2, and Atlanta was on the verge of losing 2. The teams that took a bye with home field advantage now just 2-6. Again, like I said, with Atlanta, could very possibly have lost that game. So how much does that bye hurt? When you're playing, when you're hot, you want to keep playing right then and there. Can only cool off a hot team. if you're running bad, wow, we're getting buried with totals. They're just burying the Tennessee Baltimore over today. Anyway, guys, getting back to the baseball games here, that bye looks like it's hurting the teams that are getting it more than helping. Let's talk about today's, and then we'll get into a little football.
Yep, got a pair of ALDS matchups. First one is Astros and Twins. Astros obviously 1-1 on the series. Twins tied up with game 2. Houston has not trailed in the ALDS series as far as, being behind in games since 2015. That's the year they lost to Kansas City. Since then, they have dominated the ALDS. Javier versus Gray today. Javier, a little bit of a down season. Did end the year with a quality start against the D-backs. 6 shutout innings there. Prior to that, though, in September, 0-3, 5.11 ERA. Was terrific in the postseason last year, 2-0, 0.71 ERA. Did have some bad road numbers this season. And then Sonny Gray, who's been terrific, third in ERA this season, goes in the wild card, 5 shutout innings and a win over Toronto there. Had 2.98 ERA in September. 2 starts versus Houston this season, terrific. Both quality starts, 4 runs, 13 innings, 16 Ks, 4 walks. Going to give Gray the pitching edge here, but I think the experience factor for Javier could be a benefit here. This is Houston or nobody. I mean, you give you that trend there. Astros have not trailed since 2015 in the ALDS, and obviously Minnesota getting it done a little bit with the pitching. They get it done. Carlos Correa had a big game too. He's obviously has the experience, the most experience on this Twins team, and that's a big factor. But Houston on the season, third best road team in baseball. They were much better on the road than Minnie was at home. Go ahead and give me the Astros here, plus money. Yes, Javier, not going to give a pitching edge, but I'm just going to hope that playoff experience comes in here as a big factor.
Yeah, look, Javier did have a great playoff run last year and threw a nice game in his last time out, but go in the middle after that. I mean, just got crushed in September. Gray, you got to love what he's doing. Third in ERA in the year. He just doesn't go deep into the games. That's the only knock you could put on Gray. What he does do, he doesn't give up the long ball. 8 homers all season long. Bigger. I give Gray a bigger pitching advantage, it sounds like, than Ben. But look, Houston's the team that's been there. They've done it. It's their lose, which Mattress Mac hope doesn't have a couple of mil right on Houston. And they get it done on the road. They've just been a better road team all year long. Third best on the road, 51-30, and third scoring 5.7 runs per game. So the sticks are on the side of Houston. I give Minnie the pitching advantage. This number's a little high, but for me to want to get Houston, I need a higher number.
And then we have Orioles at Texas. Baltimore trying to avoid being swept. Texas 11-8 win there in game 2. They did split 6 regular season meetings. Rangers winning 2 of 3 in Texas. O's 1-4 their last 5. We were just talking about how good Houston is on the road. Orioles best road record in baseball, 52-29 on the season. Texas, though, second best home record in the AL, 50-31. And their bats is getting it done now. 4 straight, scoring over 6 a game, hitting 272 in the playoffs. Really getting it done. Interesting pitching matchup. Creamer versus Eovaldi. Eovaldi had the injury. Didn't look the same. Had a 9+ ERA in September coming back. And then boom, against Tampa Bay. Just lights out there. 1 run, 6 2/3, 8 Ks, no walks. Looked phenomenal. Is that a bit of Tampa? Is that a him turning around? We're going to have to wait and see in this matchup. But I will say, great numbers against Baltimore last year. 1-0, 1.31 ERA in 3 starts, 2 of them quality starts. One of those a complete game, 17 Ks, 1 walk. So terrific numbers against the O's last season. O's were good last season, not as good as this year. So take that with a grain of salt. And then Creamer going, who's just been very consistent all season long. Doesn't have many bad starts, keeps you in the game. 3.57 ERA in September. Faced Texas. What was that? Back in May, 3 runs, 6 1/3, and a 5-3 loss there. Pitching edge, I'm going to give it slightly, and very slightly to Eovaldi. I think Creamer, you're definitely getting, more what you're getting today. Eovaldi could be someone who gets tagged for 6 runs. He could come up with some shutout baseball. So just the ceiling, I think, is higher with Eovaldi if he is getting back to where he was the start of the season. I just have a hard time back in Baltimore in this one. I get the road numbers. The price on the game is probably to bet Baltimore, but Just thinks a little bit like the air's been taken out of the wheels. We talked about what happened with these teams with the buys, and it just seems like Baltimore is the biggest advocate of that. And really, I keep on getting on the O's for this, but it didn't get the pitching. They don't have the pitching. Their pitching's too young. Creamer, another one of these guys, a bit younger, and not much playoff experience to it. Give me Eovaldi here in Texas to close it out. I think it's going to turn into another slugfest, and give me the better lineup at home to do it.
Looks like Texas went back to May. Texas finished the season limping at Seattle. The sticks weren't hitting. They've been amongst the leaders in scoring and batting average all season long, but they just fell apart at the end of the year. Eovaldi was pitching lights out, was pitching at a Cy Young level early in the season. He gets hurt, comes back and been trash. All of a sudden, Texas is back to scoring. They outslug Orioles 11-8 to get that last win. They're scoring runs. Eovaldi throws blanks at Tampa his last time out. So, again, it looks like this is more like the Texas team that led for 90% of the season, had the AL West lead, and Eovaldi pitching back that well also. Side note here, besides the Orioles, total flip script, Orioles going in, finishing red hot, clinched it. The last few games didn't mean so much. They get a bye, and here they are with just nothing in the tank, it looks like. And now here comes Creamer. And besides all the stats, first of all, he has not completed 6 innings for over a month. And take away the stats, we all know what's going on in Israel, and our thoughts and prayers. Because when I watch the TV to what's going on there, it's actually sickening. So don't know how many know this. Creamer is a dual citizen of Israel. His parents are Israeli. He's got extended family there. He speaks Hebrew. He goes back to Israel for a time each year. So me as somebody with no family there, just totally can't even believe what I'm watching. Can't imagine what this young man's going to be going through out there pitching on top of the Orioles not hitting, not winning. Texas doing what they were doing in May. Tall order for the Orioles. Getting back to that bye, I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather keep playing.
Yep, and that's always one of those weird things to handicap too. Something like that, just a human thing, nothing sports related. It's a human thing. Is that going to make him, just too distracted, or is that going to be something that takes him to a next level, gives him, an unexplainable adrenaline boost almost that'll be added into the mix. So unexplainable thing to handicap there.
And go away. Look, I remember years ago when they actually showed a clip of it last night. Brett Favre, his dad had a heart attack and died. Look, I don't want to sound ruthless, but I just go on information. And as soon as I heard that, I'm betting against the Packers that night, thinking maybe he's not even going to play. If he's going to play, he's going to be playing with a heavy heart. Well, Brett Favre comes out and does what Brett Favre does, and Green Bay gets the win. So, yes, it's how is everybody going to handle that outside of sports situation, but just regardless of the situation, his thoughts will be there. It's concentration, guys. Bill Belichick, not so much lately, but Bill Belichick, week to week, no outside interference. It's the next game. That's what we got to do. The next game, focus. That's why we always talk about distractions. It's one of the reasons I like the Jets plus all the points last week. This Taylor Swift may be great for how many more followers Kelsey's getting and the Chiefs are getting, and great for football and more little girls watching football. But she's a distraction to the Chiefs when every reporter is sticking a microphone in every player's face saying to Taylor Swift, it's a distraction. Anything that's a distraction that takes your focus off the game, that's something that's not good. That's what we talk about a lot with look-ahead games, and we're getting close to basketball right around the corner. That's a big thing. Playoff revenge. If you've got a cupcake team playing tonight, 2 nights from now is the team that beat you in the playoffs, it's a look-ahead. It's a distraction. It's just something you're looking at. So these are the types of things, like I said, not sports-related, but more mental, not statistics.
Yeah, the another situation that came to mind when you mentioned the Brett Favre game was Isaiah Thomas for the Celtics a few years back when his sister passed away, and the next game he goes and drops 50 against Washington. So sometimes those things can break a player. Sometimes, hey, they can play out of this world from those kind of situations. So we'll see what we get from Creamer. But yeah, 2 quick games there in the ALDS. We'll see what we get going so far. No bets out on that. A lot of bets out on football for the week, guys. What is it now? 5 in the NFL, 4 in the NFL, 3 in college football. So a lot of bets already out for the weekend. And we'll touch on this Thursday night football game here briefly. Broncos and Kansas City. This is just an interesting matchup history. I mean, Kansas City, as far as win-loss, dominates it. 15 straight meetings they have won. But then you look at the against the spread record, 10-5 against the spread, get a little bit closer, look a little bit more recent. Broncos will cover the last 3. They covered both last season. Waiting to see what's going on with Kelsey here. He has that ankle issue. He finished the game after hurting it in the last game there against Minnesota. Is he going to play, on a short week against a team that you dominate? You really don't need Kelsey to win this game. So as far as a season-long team, a team like the Chiefs who have Super Bowl aspirations, Kelsey has the injury to start the season, get something here. You're probably going to be more cautious with this, probably going to sit him out. We'll see what they actually end up doing there. And then you have this Broncos team who obviously is helpless, 1-4 straight up, 0-4-1 against the spread. Can they keep this within the big number? Matchup history, very high scoring. Last 3 meetings all going over. Broncos last 4 all going over. 2 Chiefs last 3 all going over. So this is a lot of points could be expected here. Obviously got to see what's going on with Kelsey. And big number if Kelsey is out. And Chiefs get the Chargers next, who of anyone in the division, and really anyone in football, maybe other than Cincinnati, really plays the Chiefs tough.
Yeah, could be a little bit of a look-ahead game, little distraction, just what we're talking about. Taylor Swift, it's another primetime game. It's Thursday night, short week. Her boyfriend got a little bit of an ankle problem. Chiefs now, guys, are they're 12-1. Their last 13 games, just 7-6 against the spread. The one loss, opening night, without Kelsey in the lineup. He's huge. He's Mahomes' safety blanket. You want to have Kelsey in there. Let's see if he makes the quick turnaround and plays. Look, he came back and finished the game. But if anybody that was watching the game, when he first got the injury, he goes to the sideline, he smashes that helmet. He thought he was hurt worse than he was. Now, when the adrenaline wears off, the next day, does that ankle blow up? We'll see if he gets to play. Again, short week. If he doesn't play, I've got to like Denver here at plus double digits. As Ben said, Chargers next. That's the team that gives them some problems as they have in the past few years. Not going to get up for a Denver team that you've beaten for 8 straight years. They do what Andy Reid does against Denver. They beat them. They don't cover. They haven't covered the last 3 games. They didn't cover either or 2 last year. Double digits Thursday night. I think Denver gets up to play this game as ugly as they've looked, and then they've looked ugly. But I think they get up to play this game. If there's no Kelsey, I got to take the Broncos plus the double digits.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a prop better, but one that just screams out about this game, especially if Kelsey is out. We saw, Denver's last in giving up rushing yards. We saw the Jets run all over them. We saw Miami run all over them. And Pacheco, they've been leaning on him a bit more and more. So if Kelsey is out, Pacheco could be some good prop numbers there, maybe touchdown or even just the yards on it. So just a little bit of a look there, maybe early week prop betting. But yeah.
Just jump in there, Ben. That's what the shops are seeing because they've actually buried the under here, which if you're going to go run heavy, that's going to drop the line. So that total opened 51.5, and the shops thinking Kelsey most likely out, not officially, but most likely out, and probably leaning on the run game against a team that can't stop the run, and that's why your total is dropping down.
So that's just a early week insight into Thursday night football. A lot of bets out for this weekend, and a short baseball card today. We'll see if we get a game 3 with Texas-Baltimore, a game 4 with Texas-Baltimore. We'll see if we get one of those, and we'll see who takes the lead here tonight, Houston and Minnesota. A little bit of a quicker episode today. Obviously, these next couple of weeks until NBA gets going are just going to be quicker episodes. But once we get NBA back in action, you guys know it's going to be a lot for us to cover every single day. And the guy next to me here knows a thing or two about the NBA. I think you're going to want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, we also got a couple of college football games. Been spending a little time, being that there's not so much work. I need to work. I need to have a lot of work. I just need a couple hours a day off to get a little workout in, a little walk, eat a little something, and I'm ready to work. So if I don't have enough hours to work, which there's not with baseball, it's tough at this part of the year. Again, we only pick games we really like. That's why we jumped on Wheel yesterday. With that extra time, looking into the college football, got a couple of plays that we've already made, at least one more, just waiting on some info there. So we'll see how the college all shakes out. NFL, a couple of totals, one game so far, and expect at least another play, but we'll see how it all goes. And again, guys, sometimes it's early in the week, sometimes it's right before game time. That's why, we appreciate all the guys that check in to the podcast. But if you want all the info, you got to be a How to Beat the Bookie member. We might, a couple of weeks ago, did have a bet going into a Sunday. We wound up with 7 bets. So, that's it. Let's get started for another week.
Yep, guys, appreciate everyone tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe below, and let's make some money.
Make some money.